Så ikke sant, Arjuna sier, so Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, Purusha, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of knowledge, and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body of Son of Kunti is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." So Krishna is answering Arjuna's questions right off the bat, that the field, that is that's the body. So in other words, it's the object. It's like in a scientific laboratorium. You have an object for examination, for investigation. So that's the body, and the person who is examining, that's the Purusha, or the person. So you have an object and you have a person. Does it make sense? So the knower of the field, that will be the person who is doing the investigation of the field, or the object. Field, instead of saying field, you can say object. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. So that person is making a mess sometimes in the laboratory. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes he becomes too engrossed in his investigation, right? Sometimes you have this thing, you have some funny movie. There's like a mad scientist, right? He gets too engrossed in his yes, he becomes completely obsessed with his object of experimentation. Uh, I mean, uh, everyone can imagine. Some old, horror movie or something. Some guy, making some investigation, and he even inadvertently he creates a monster, in the laboratory, something like that. uh, and the monster will then turn around and destroy, the creator, right? So in that way, you can. Yeah, but of course, it's just some kind of analogy. Analogies are not reality. Just to help us understand concepts. So there are similarities, which make us able to then understand, but it's not actually the situation, right? We are not mad scientists, right? But we have a body, which is a place where we are having experiences, and we are experimenting also. That's true, isn't it? That's the point. So in that way, we need some guidance. We can talk with other people who have some experience, yeah, who may have been longer, doing this trial and error. You have to admit, it's a process of trial and error. This spiritual life. We try something, sometimes it doesn't work. We try something else. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. So let's see, what patterns come up from this, what we're trying to learn here. So I think we just read quickly in the purport here. Uh, See, this is like a technical verse. Arjuna is asking, about six, technical terms here. Which you see listed, it's Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Jnanam, and Gyayam. Yeah, so they're like in pairs, It's like three pairs of words, right? Uh, so these are, Prabhupada says, nature, Purusha. So these are Prakriti and Purusha. Yeah. Arjuna was inquisitive about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer. So this is one pair because it's actually the feminine and masculine principle. So Purusha is the masculine principle and the Prakriti is the feminine. And then you have the next pair is Kshetra and Kshetragya. So actually, again, it's the same thing, but just in a different shape. So Kshetra is again, the feminine is the field, and Kshetragya is the masculine, the one who enjoys the field or knows the field or whatever, experiences the field. And then again, we have knowledge and the object of knowledge. That's the last one, which is Jnana, and Gyaya. Yeah. So then Krishna. Really fast to follow. It's only, I'm just dealing with what the verse was about. It was these six things, right? Yeah, he wants to make to enjoy the field and it's lower. Yeah, he wants to learn about this. Slower field to enjoy. It's not usual terms that Western people use very much. Yeah, no. What is Western terminology for the same things? What did you mention first there? Right. For example, exactly nature. Yeah. Yeah. So this nature, you can just call it. You can just give it another name. You can call it matter. Yeah, it's matter. Okay. Yeah. Difference between nature and nature. You think about outdoors, nature. Yeah, I know. So that's the problem. So we try and make it easier to understand. So that's why we say, we just call it matter, okay? Not nature. Yeah. So, but you see, the usage of nature is there, because we talk about different natures. We talk about, this prakriti is divided into three, and that's they're called the three modes of nature. So that is, the destructive mode, the passionate mode, and the wise mode. These are ignorance, passion, and goodness. So that's Arjuna is asking about. Yeah. So as a whole, they're called prakriti. And then you can divide them again into all the elements. We have talked about that many times. You have the five gross elements. For the nature of nature. Yeah, exactly. Nature of nature. Well said. Yeah. Yeah. You can say in another way, it's all nature, even yeah. Mechanistic technology is all the nature because it's made out of nature. It's working because of all these chemical things. Their electricity can go through different elements, and it's all nature, everything. But this Purusha is different. The enjoyer is really different, because it's a person who's observing all of this, taking it in. We're just like sponges, all of us. We're just taking in and digesting all this. Everything is actually going on in a subtle realm in our minds. All of us, we're just living in our head, right? Well, yeah. All the information we get through our senses.
and that's how we interpret our experience.
Yeah, so in that way, we are the receiver. We are the one at the receiving end. So in that way, we are the kshetragya. We are the knower. We are sitting there and we know. So it said that we have knowledge acquiring senses. Our ears are getting knowledge, through sound vibration. Our eyes are getting knowledge through stuff that we see. Our sense of touch are getting knowledge, about different things we touch. If it's gross, if it's smooth, if it's cold, if it's warm, all these things we are sensing with our senses. And then, we have our smell is also getting knowledge. So, but we are the one who actually are sitting and receiving all of that through our mind. So again, then the kshetra is the same thing actually as but here specifically the kshetra actually means the body itself. So first you have prakriti. It's just talked about everything in the whole world, right? Even Pluto and Mars and Jupiter, everything is prakriti. But then kshetra is very local. It is the body itself that we are having. That's the kshetra.
Feel like you're kind of jumping back and forth um, in, in explanations. What kind of things are that
I'm just trying to make you understand it.
sort of so smart? It's actually so smart that I can't understand it.
Well, you can just look. Are you seeing on YouTube now the text?
Watch the chapter you sent me on WhatsApp.
All right, because on YouTube I will write it down. Okay, I'm making a right. If you look now on YouTube stream, I can show you there. You're gonna be able to digest this.
I have to watch it on my phone.
Okay, you can do.
Which I have turned off naturally.
Oh, you turned it off. Oh, you cannot since I can hear your voice.
Call me.
Oh, but I can still hear your voice. So you must have your phone on, right?
No, I use microphone on computer.
Oh, very good. Okay, I get it. I mean, if you like, I can try and explain you there with the text. I can line it up. No, this kind of knowledge that we're talking about here. I mean, you can't expect always to digest it immediately. Also, I mean, this is a high subject matter. But he also needed to Krishna to explain him, for a long time. But anyway, I write it here. I'll write it here with big letters.
Um,
So I wrote first Prakriti and Purusha. So simply Prakriti is simply everything, okay? And Purusha is the enjoyer of everything. Whatever that comes into our senses, that is Prakriti. And then the one who actually enjoys all of that, that is the Purusha. And then the other couple is Kshetra. And then Kshetragya. So Kshetra is the body. And Kshetragya is, so I'll make it easy. I'll just say the soul, okay? It is the soul inside the body. Can you see it there?
I can see what you're writing.
Very good. And so the next couplet is Jnanam and then Yeyam. So that is knowledge and sorry, I wrote wrong here. Kshetra is not the soul, of course. Kshetra is, the body. Kshetra is the body, and Kshetragya is the soul inside the body. And then Jnanam is knowledge, and Gyam is that which we can know. Yeah.
So information that comes through our senses and
Yeah,
stuff.
I can use it in another way. So knowledge and Gyam is, you can say Jnanam is knowledge itself, and then Gyam is stuff that we can know about. You see, there is a difference. I mean, it's quite subtle, but this is called epistemology. Western science, I mean, philosophy has dealt with this a lot. That you have knowledge as just a thing that you can be full with knowledge, and then you have actually the stuff that you have knowledge about. You see, there is a difference. Yeah.
Can you explain that again?
Yeah. It's the knowledge. Epistemology is the knowledge about knowledge. Yeah. The knowledge about what is knowledge. Yeah. I can just write it more easy. I mean, we like to mess with words, but we can just say epistemology. Simply the question, what is knowledge? Yeah. So, what kind of parameters do we have to find out knowledge? Yeah. So in Vedic epistemology, then you have, these things that you kind of you can have knowledge which you get through the scriptures. That's called Shabda Pramana, and that is knowledge which you get through to sound, or to authority. Yeah. So the Vedic is one through sound, evidence, you can say, or through authority sound. Yeah. So in that way, scriptures. Yeah. So what the scripture says, that is evidence. You understand? And the number two is that which you get through your senses. Oh, sorry, that's number three actually. So number two is what you get through logic.
Yes, this large, I can see the logo.
Yeah,
It's sort of.
yeah. And we can say what is knowledge? Knowable. Yeah, yeah. So the second method of Vedic epistemology is logic. So that you can say is mathematics, etc. Plausibility, yeah, etc. Yeah, yeah. And then the third one, that is through sense perception. So then we're not sitting on the drawing board anymore. Now we're out in the field and we simply sense stuff. So what is coming in through our senses. That is going to be the evidence, right? So that is sense perception. So if you can't see it, then you don't accept it. This is really the thing about the knowledge which is accepted from sense perception. But usually we are in the world, we're operating through logic. By some good arguments, mathematically or otherwise, we can accept arguments. So the world is really operating through this logical platform. Our whole world is working through computers, which is, a creation of logic, right? But back in the day, there was a lot more authority through the scriptures. If you just look back 200 years, the whole world was controlled, by Christianity and in the West, very much, and in the
Yeah,
East, of course, very much.
pure words. And it's not how the brain works because it's like pure because they're not similar because uh, um, a computer is based on brain.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes. So it's a big calculator. Yeah, the first computer was a calculator, right? Calculate numbers. 1 + 1 is 2.
wasn't it the Alan Turing computer that was supposed to so code breaking of the Second World War of the, the Nazi uh, codes for uh,
You say one of the Nazis, Arnold, the Goering, he was into coding.
no,
No.
not Turing. Alan. I'll search up what was his name.
Okay, okay. What was contribution from that side into this what we're talking now?
We were talking about the first computer, and you said it was a calculator, and I don't think so.
Okay, okay.
I
Anyway,
think it
it's
was
a
a
side.
code breaking machine.
Okay, you're probably right. Anyway, it's a side point. I just
Yeah,
remember I heard that some time ago. That you had the first computer. It was very simple mechanical device. It was not operated by electricity. So it was just to calculate, numbers like a gigantic calculator, simple
I
as it
maybe
could be.
used uh, sort of Perl back back in ancient Greece. They had like pearls on that they could
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. That thing you even have today. I mean, I remember we had that in the kindergarten. Hmm.
uh,
Birds on the stick. Yeah, yeah. That's a good computer. It's the start of computing. Very good. Okay, so I'll are you satisfied, or should we discuss this more?
well, I feel I'm kind of dragging this conversation out in no man's land, so I'll just let you take the lead.
That's okay. I mean, we discussed something. We can go back to it later. Okay, so Prabhupada is writing here. Uh, let's see in the end of his purport here. He's talking now about. He's also summing up the chapters. It's in the last paragraph of this uh, purport here for the second verse. He says, in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which you can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-Gita, the Supreme Personality of God and the relationship between the individual soul and the super soul in regard to devotional service are described. Yeah, so I mean, the focus is more on directly on Bhakti Yoga in the middle 6 chapters, and then uh, then Prabhupada says in the end here, he said, now starting with the 13th chapter, how the living entity comes into contact with material nature and how he is delivered by the Supreme Lord through the different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation knowledge, and the discharge of devotional service are explained. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related. This is also explained. Yeah. So the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, that's pertaining to karma yoga mostly. That's the main factor that you can say focus. Karma yoga, working for Krishna, to working, to have the spiritual life. And the second part, next 6 chapters, they're focusing more on bhakti, on devotion to Krishna for having perfection. And then these last 6 chapters although they also talk about the two others, but they have more an angle of jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge. So it starts off very much with knowledge. This 13th chapter is very much, about knowledge.
How did you learn the knowledge when you first exploring it?
Well, I had to read it, and I had to listen also from people who knew it better than me. But I was reading it, from cover to cover, and it's not really,
It
learned
makes
very
sense to
quickly.
me first time back.
Hmm?
It makes sense to me the first time.
Not at all. Nothing. Actually, many years before it actually kind of landed in my brain.
Wow.
So
So I listened to all the scriptures, the Quran and the Bhagavatam on audiobook. But stories, all the transcendental knowledge that they're trying to provide, which just doesn't make sense to me because it was a whole different world thousands of years ago. It's not the same world today.
yeah, that's okay. But Bhagavad Gita is talking about eternal truths. So in that way, you just have to kind of filter, the cultural part, which pertains to a different civilization, and you can just grasp, the philosophical part because it's still applicable. Because we have the same humanity has the same human body now as it had thousands and thousands of years ago. It's the same mind, same soul is there, same senses, same material nature. Everything is same actually. All the objects of material nature are still there. We have sound, touch, taste. No, there's the relationship between man and woman, wealth and being poor. Everything is actually the same. All the concepts are same. So that's why it still works. You don't need to actually update the knowledge. The knowledge is, timeless. It's the same knowledge which was in work then and is in work now also. Yeah. So I'll read the third chapter now. Sorry, third text. Uh, Third text. Kshetragyam chapimam vidhi sarvakshetrusu bharata tatra kshetra gyanam yat tat gyanam matam mama. Now Krishna is revealing. He says, "O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion." Yeah, so he's now saying that he is also in our body. It's not only us. So we have two people in each body. Okay, one is us and one is the super soul. God is also there. Would you like to read from the commentary purport a little bit?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Can you mouse where you want me to read from?
Oh, sure, I can do. Um, it's right here. Can you see that?
Uh,
I do like this.
can you move the mouse a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, there. While discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, soul and the super soul, we shall find three different topics of study. The Lord, living entity, and matter. In every field of activities, in every body, there are two souls, individual soul and the super soul. Because the super soul is the plenary expansion of the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna, uh, yes, Krishna says, I am also the knower, but I am not the individual knower of the body. I am the super knower. I am present in everybody as the Paramatma or super soul.
Okay, full stop.
Uh,
Good. So he's in everybody. So in that way, he's the one who gives us, the intelligence. It said also, and the intelligence will vary according to um to what we're after. Yeah. Okay. So Prabhupada says, one who studies uh, the subject matter of the field of activity and the knower of the field very minutely in terms of this Bhagavad-Gita can attain to knowledge. Yeah, so as I said, very minutely, one has to, use some time with that. Okay, let's just go to the next text. Uh, Text 4. Yat kshetram yak chak yadrik cha yat vikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavascha at samasena me shrinu. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, when it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. Do you get that?
yeah.
Yeah. So, so Prabhupada says in the purport here, he says the Lord is describing the field of activities and the knower of the field of activities in their constitutional positions. One has to know how this body is constituted, the materials of which this body is made, under whose control this.
But I don't really understand anything we're reading.
No, I mean, we can just stop reading also. I mean, so all this is like now Prabhupada is going into all this knowledge, which is part of knowing how the body is working in comparison with the soul, like that. So I mean,
I feel like it's difficult on purpose, so you feel stupid, and then somebody has to explain it to you who is a master or something, and then you say like, "Oh, well, that makes so sense." You really didn't really understand it anyway.
no, don't take it like that. The language is always a barrier for all of us. It's okay. It's not done on purpose. As you say, it comes from a different area. These things can be explained in a different way, more simple, definitely. So in that way, we can just say here, it's not really that difficult. He's just Krishna is just getting into the knowledge here because this chapter is very much about knowledge. It's just getting into the details how the body is constituted, how the body is made up. We'll see actually that is divided into different elements. So in the next verse, Krishna says, text 5, that knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It's especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. So Krishna is giving a reference here to the Vedanta Sutra. It's called the Brahma Sutra. Also, Brahma Sutra Padaischaiva. So Krishna says in the padas of the Brahma Sutra. So the Brahma Sutra is divided into 4 padas or 4 parts. So there it's also explained Hetum Adbir Vinishchitai. So it's explained according to cause and effect. Because in science also they talk about cause and effect, right? Things has a cause and they have an effect.
Yeah.
So that's
Domino effect.
yeah. So that's a very very important part of knowledge, the relationship between cause and effects. Yeah. So in that way, Bhagavad-Gita is dealing with actually just giving actually just a summary or kind of overview of what's there. It doesn't go into the details, but Vedanta Sutra it does go into details. Uh, so it's explained here. Later here, actually, Krishna is saying later. He says uh, now he's talking about these different parts. If you divide the body into and you divide both the subtle body and the gross body into pieces, then you have what is called Sankhya, and that's 24 or 25 elements. So he's going through them now in the next verses. Mabhutani ahankaro buddhir avyaktamevacha indriyani dashaikam cha pancha chandriya gocharaha ichavdesha sukham dukkam sangatash chetanadritihi etat kshetram samasena savikaram udaritam. Yeah, so here it says the five great elements. So usually we call them the gross elements. So that's earth, water, fire, air, and space. Earth, water, fire, air, and space. So five elements which we are sensing with our senses. We talked about yeah. It says Mahabhutani.
Yes. Christ says like the five great elements, and then it says false ego, intelligence, and the unmanifest.
Yeah, so it goes on. So first you have the Pancha Mahabhutas, the five great elements, and then you have false ego, intelligence. That's part of the subtle body. So it's not the five great elements. The what is mentioned after are different.
Five great elements.
Yeah, yeah. But you see, Sanskrit is working like that. But sometimes it's not. It's explained elsewhere. Elsewhere in the Gita, it's listed. The five great elements.
Will be confusing.
Not really. It's just when you read the whole book, it makes sense because Sanskrit was a very compromised language. It's meant for the intelligentsia. Earlier in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it was the seventh chapter, Krishna has explained Bhumir Apunalavaya Kamanu Buddharevacha. He explained there the five elements. And then he also explains the three subtle elements mind, intelligence, and ego. It's explained before. So it doesn't need to, because then the Sanskrit is prolonged. You see, you have to think about what was the situation then. They didn't have printing press, my dear sir. They had to copy, these texts by scribes, had to copy them, by hand. So they made them as short as possible, just for ease of copying, And the people, the Brahminical people, they were trained in the Sanskrit, in the culture, so they understood what it meant when they were reading that. So there is a lot of shorthand, just like now, you have people are texting, right? They use acronyms. Is it correct or not?
Like no.
Yeah, all these things. So in the same way, people did before. Just make it short, save time. Just the same nature as we have now, To save time, you don't need to spell out, all the ingredients every single time. You just make them short. So it's called Mahabhutas, the great elements. So everybody know it's five elements. Yeah. Okay. So it's the five great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested. That's called avyakta. So that means that we have all the material world, you can say. It's also existing in an unmanifested stage. So that's the stage also which is there when we talk about the demigods, or you can say the gods, the devatas. They're existing in this unmanifested stage. For us, it's unmanifested. And then the 10 senses and the mind. Indriyana dashaikamsha. Dasha means 10. Yeah, so then you have the five knowledge acquiring senses and the five working senses. So five knowledge acquiring senses, I think I mentioned already. We can see, we can hear, we can touch, we can smell, and we can taste. In that way, we get knowledge in five different ways. And five working senses, Those are arms, legs, and so forth. And then you have 5 sense objects. That is the objects of the knowledge acquiring senses. That means the object of seeing is form, the object of touch, or the object of the skin, that's touch sensation. The object of the nose is a smell sensation, that's an object. The object of the tongue is taste. The object of the ear is a sound in that way. And then we have desire, hatred, happiness, distress. So these are, dualities. These are the dualities, which we have in the material world. Sukh and dukh. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are not happy, but by what kind of object we are touching, we're in contact with. Yeah. So it's desire and hatred. We want the object or we hate it. We don't want it, and then we are happy and unhappy. And then the aggregate. It means yeah, the sum total of all that is called the field of activity in itself. And then we have life symptoms. So what is a life symptom? The main life symptom, it is consciousness. And then convictions. So that's the driti. That's uh, that's a function of intelligence that we are ready to do something. Vad kallar man det? Beslutsamhet. Yeah, determination. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. Yeah. Okay, so we can read on here. So we can read now the next bunch of verses. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsak shantirajyavam acharyupasanam shaucham stairam atma vinigraha indiyartesu vairagyam anahankare vacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam asaktiranabi svanga utradara grihadishu nityam sa chamatchittatvam stanishtupapatishu ayachananya yogena bhaktiravya vicharini viktadesha sevitam haratiri Jnana samsadi adhyatma-jnana nityatvam tvagyanartadarshanam artat-jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yattatonyatha. The beautiful Sanskrit verses, which is translated here. So now we're talking about, what is knowledge according to Krishna. So to begin with, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be, is ignorance. Yeah. So are you still? Yeah. So see, if you know all this, forget about your academic degree. This is knowledge. You can have a PhD 5 times, but if you don't have these qualities, you're not in knowledge according to Bhagavad-Gita. Then you're in ignorance. Yeah. Very good. Okay, so let's just go to because now Prabhupada is going through all of these qualities here. I'll just pick out a few. So here in the purport, Prabhupada says, one should try to understand the distress of accepting birth, death, old age, and disease. So that was one of the knowledges. That was, Janma Mrityu Jarvyadi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. So that one understands that Janma Mrityu Jara and Vyadi, that's birth, death, old age, and disease. These are, doshas. These are, faults. It's not good, any of them. Yeah. So dukkha dosha. So there are faults which brings unhappiness. Birth, death, old age, and disease. But somebody may object that birth is quite okay. But why are people crying when they're born? Right? Everybody's crying. Birth may also not be so good. um, so that's why anudarshanam, to actually see that these things are negative, that is knowledge. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go on. If we go to the next. Well, okay, probably saying something here also. In this paragraph, he says, as far as self-realization is concerned, it is clearly stated here that Bhakti Yoga is especially practical. Actually, Krishna says, this mam yabicharena. He says, if you have bhakti for me, unalloyed bhakti for me, that's also one of the items of knowledge. Let's see if I can catch the Sanskrit here. What was the Sanskrit for that? Yeah. Maya chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. That's mentioned as one of the items of knowledge is to actually have, bhakti for Krishna. Ananya yoga bhakti. Anya means without anything else mixed up with it. Can one have an example of that? Say if you want to have a pure water, you can see in the shop you can buy pure water, right? Yes or no? You can buy water in the shop which is pure. Yes.
Clean water.
Yes.
Shop.
So that is ananya water. Okay, it's water without anything else. Yeah, and then you can buy water which has bubbles in it, right?
Yes, that's also very good water.
Yeah, so say somebody is offering you and you're a purist, you like to have everything so pure as possible. They say, I will give you here, Daniel, this bottle with, what do you call this thing again? Carbonized water. Is that what it's called?
One for bubbles out?
Yeah. Yeah, and it has some taste, it has, sugar and all kinds of stuff. And then we have this other Ananya water. And then you will, of course, say, I want Ananya, untampered with, the pure, original, right?
The pure water in small.
Yeah. So in that way, Krishna says that one who chooses Ananya Bhakti, who just takes the pure bhakti, not mixed up with some ulterior motives that, okay, I can have some bhakti for Krishna, I can have some love for God, but please, God, give me my Mercedes Benz, right? Prosperity religion, right? I also want to have some money on my bank account. Please, Krishna, I will be your devotee, but I also need to live. This is not Ananya Bhakti. The pure, Ananya Bhakti is nothing else. I just want to serve Krishna. I just want to be his devotee. I don't have any other desires. So that's very appreciated by Krishna.
Easier to not thank God for anything because we as a community provide for each other.
Exactly. But guess who is actually providing all of that? It's God. He's behind. Yeah, isn't it? Som man sier på norsk, det er han som sitter bak spakene. Yes. He's behind, he's sitting in the technical room, and arranging everything without our even knowing about it. Yeah. So in that way, so in that way we can put all our bets on him, and everything's going to be all right. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we take the next one. It says Gyayam yat tat pravakshyami yad gyatvam anadimat param brahma na sat anna sat uchyate. I shall now explain the noble, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. So, as you can say, an interlude. Then Krishna is giving some shout outs to Brahman. because Brahman is most of the people in the world who is into spiritual life. They just want Brahman. Actually, they don't want Krishna. They just want to have a good time in Brahman, because Brahman is giving full peace and happiness and everything, but it doesn't give a love for God. Yeah, and for most people who are getting to spiritual life, that is more than enough. After suffering, in this material world for unlimited births and deaths, you know, to get Brahman, it sounds like a good deal, actually, for many people. But so Krishna is also, saying that Brahman, yeah, that's good. It is, the is beginningless and is subordinate to me, and it's also, tasting nicely.
You know what investors is short-term investment is usually the best time of capital investment unless you are looking for the pension.
Okay, so
But
that
by
may,
that I mean it's good to have food today and food.
yeah, but you see, with Krishna, it's a different, story, because he's here always. He's giving us assurance in the Bhagavad-Gita. He's saying, Yoga Kshema Vahamiham. If you surrender to me, if you put all your bets on me, I will make sure you get what you need, and I will preserve also what you have. He's giving his promise, actually.